Well, hello, and once again, you've made it all the way to Friday, and the lines of the song keep running through my head. Just keeps getting better. Looking forward to it. I hope the days just continue to improve and great things are ahead of us. There's a beautiful white snow laying on the ground, but I'm glad to see the sun shining on it and some of it slightly beginning to disappear. I guess I'm not a kid anymore. Seriously glad you're here. Come on in, share a moment in my little world, and we'll talk about something together. I was thinking just the other day about Benjamin Franklin. I think I saw an old article in an old Reader's Digest, and the title of the article, it may have been from a book, I can't remember, The Man Who Dared Lightning. Can you imagine that? And we think about Benjamin Franklin and all the things that he did in his lifetime, and so many of the inventions and so forth that were so much a part of him, his work for the establishment of this country. He was represented the United States in France and so forth. Quite an interesting character and quite an interesting study in his life. And one of the things that little children learn, one of the first things I think I learned about Benjamin Franklin was about his kite flying ability. You know what I'm talking about. Remember, he went out and flew the kite, had the key tied around it in the lightning storm and so forth, and his studies of electricity. Well, the studies of electricity opened the door for a lot of things, didn't they? It took a lot of years to come around to it, but the studies of electricity helped open doors and minds to think about some of the things and how can we capture electricity and use it well. Well, sometimes when we think about electricity, we think about somebody like Thomas Edison. Quite the inventor, quite the fellow, quite the student of electricity, and inventor in his own right, of course. But you remember, Thomas Edison got involved in low voltage DC, or direct current, use of electricity, lighting the streets of New York City with substations all along. The DC current at low voltage could only travel so far through the wires and make it to light the lights along the way. Well, a man by the name of Tesla developed and worked with generators that would produce alternating current, higher voltage alternating current that would work at lower amperages, but would produce electricity that could travel for much greater distances, and so forth. Well, Edison wasn't a big fan. He worried about the higher voltage. A lot of people were afraid. There were articles in newspapers about the higher voltage electricity and what a problem it was. But what George Westinghouse did was take Tesla's invention. George Westinghouse took Tesla's invention and made a bid on the 1893 World's Fair. Unbeknownst to the people that he was working with, it seems, he supplied the electricity and did all the work to light the 1893 World's Fair with electricity using lights, of course, incandescent light bulbs, working with alternating current, high voltage alternating current. Spent the time with that. The fair went on, ran its course, and no one was injured as a result of what he was doing. In the end, of course, it was found out that he was using this alternating current and the high voltage that people were so afraid of, and before long, of course, the old DC current was no longer practical for the use of spreading electrical lines all over the place. But because of the boldness of George Westinghouse taking Tesla's invention, you and I recognize the transmission of electricity all over the country. Carries it not only throughout cities, not only throughout countrysides, but all over rural and urban America and even around the world. There were others, of course, involved, but it took the boldness of somebody like George Westinghouse and his company, his corporation, jumping in and saying, this is what we're going to do, without telling everyone, taking the risk on themselves, and there they were. So from Benjamin Franklin and his boldness to go out in a thunderstorm and fly a kite, risking his own life in a way, because how many people are struck by lightning every year? Might surprise you. Look it up. To George Westinghouse, Thomas Edison, using Tesla's invention, and you and I have lights today. Amazing, isn't it? What a little boldness can do if you're willing to grab hold of it. Shortly after the death and the resurrection of Jesus, a couple of men were called before the same council that had put Jesus to death. Because they had done some things, a man had been healed, some preaching had been done, the council called them in, put them away and basically in prison for the night, and then called them in and asked them about it. They told about it. But what they did, what the council noted about them. Verse 13 of Acts chapter 4 says, when they looked at them, they noticed, here are these uneducated, untrained men. These were not prophets. These were not rabbis. These were not well-educated men. These were just ordinary fishermen. Stood before the elite council with great boldness. Told them what they believed. And the council saw that boldness, took note of the fact that they had been with Jesus. Don't you know that one of the great characteristics that benefits not only the individual life, but all the lives out of whom it can reach, like electricity, boldness. Boldness brings about the better day. They took note of the fact that these men had been with Jesus, and it brought about boldness. So here's your challenge for today. Here's your challenge for today. Take what you know. Take what you know on this Friday. Take what you know and be bold as you use it. And no telling what kind of effect you'll have. Hey, thanks for being with me today. And I hope it's a great day for you, and we'll look forward to more things that we can share as we get a little further down the road. Again, thanks for being with me today.